Nine, eight, seven, six, five, four, three, two, one, zero.
Barbados, and we warmly welcome you. I am Joseph Maynard, principal of Combermere School, and it is my honor and pleasure to host this evening's session with you. We give a special welcome to anyone joining us for the first time and inform you that these sessions are organized by the Caribbean Association of Principals of Secondary Schools, CAPS, in collaboration with CAPS technical support team, Restore a Sense of I Can, RSC. This evening in attendance are principals, deputy principals, and other administrators from our Caribbean schools. Our theme for this evening is crisis, change, and coping. And to co-host the program with me this evening is none other than Sonja Goodridge, a very good friend of mine. And I welcome Sonja at this time to join me. And I invite her as well to just introduce herself to our audience. Sonja. Okay.
No, finally. Oh dear. Hi, Joe, and hi, good evening to everyone. I'm getting a message telling me it's not allowing me to show my video, but at least you can hear me. So good evening, colleagues and friends in education. My name is Sonja Goodridge, and I'm the principal of the Coleridge and Parry School and the public relations officer of the Barbados Association of Principals of Public Secondary Schools. And tonight I'm happy to have you join us. Without further ado, we will go to our breakout rooms as we discuss the question of the night. And that question is, how have you sought to protect your physical and mental health in this period of constant change? How have you sought to protect your physical and mental health in this period of constant change? So at this time, we'll all be going over to our breakout rooms.
Okay, we are back now into our main session this evening, and I'm waiting now for my co-host Sonja. She had some challenges initially with her video, but I think now she should be okay as soon as she gets back into from the breakout room. Meanwhile, what I will do is just share a few thoughts. Here she is, the lovely Sonja. And Sonja had a few challenges with her video initially, but she is good to go at the moment. Sonja, I'll invite you to just say a few words in relation to your own discussion in your breakout room.
Oh, thank you, Joe. And it's good to finally be on. Yes, we looked at the mental and the physical, and it's amazing that we heard more about the mental than the physical. Some people are exercising, some are doing walking and, different types of exercise, ensuring that they're getting exercise every day and paying attention to the diet. But believe it or not, we have some very talented principals. They are gardening, they're doing projects around the house like shelving, and one person even built some rails for their deck. They've taken up new hobbies and they're into cooking. So things that they never used to do before are certainly not, and they're doing now to safeguard their mental health. A lot of people talked about a clear separation. I think I need to learn a little bit more about that. But the clear
Yes.
separation of work and home, and leaving everything at work when they leave.
Yes.
I have to learn how to do that, Joe. You'll have to teach me. Yes.
I agree. And in our breakout room, we also had some discussion about how persons try to deal with things. They get up very early in the morning. Persons would have time for Bible study, for meditation. Persons go for walks, a variety of things, which are all very critical in helping us to keep our mental health in check and all our physical health as well. So those are some of the discussions that arose. And we just want to thank all of the breakout groups for the discussions on this particular topic. I'm sure that they will share with us as time goes on during the evening. At this time, I have the great pleasure of introducing our presidential speaker, the presidential thought. And we have as our speaker this evening, the president of CAPS, Miss Shira Carrington James. Ma'am, very warm welcome to you at this particular time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maynard, for that introduction. And good evening to you all. This evening, I want to have a conversation or CAPS conference theme for Trinbago 2021 is breaking barriers, transitioning beyond the norm. And instead of the traditional kind of a presidential thought, I want us to have a conversation. Joe Biden yesterday celebrated 100 days in office. He's counting up the days that he's accumulating, but I want us to recognize a milestone that we're at as we count down. So we're counting down, and if there's anybody here who could tell me how many days it is in the 2 seconds after I finish asking the question, how many days is it till we get to conference 2021? And that's where Jeopardy sound comes in, right? Din, 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 din. That's all. Mr. Ramdas, is there any response in the chat? How many days it is it, before we get to, so I need to do this then. So let me proceed. We have 88 days until conference. Sorry, Lawrence Hunt, good try. 88 days till conference 2021. July 26th, Lawrence changed it to 88. July 26th is the day when our conference starts in Trinidad and Tobago. And we hope that each and every participant on the panel, on the chat tonight will join Conference 2021. I want us to keep the theme for our 28th biennial conference in the forefront of our minds over the next 12 weeks. Hold that passion and commitment to attendance all the way through July the 31st. Our theme, breaking barriers. And this week, why I decided just to have a conversation is we've had a phenomenal week last week, and I didn't want it to pass subsumed under theoretical presentations of presidents. So I elected to say, hey, look, we are 18,721 persons strong across the region. We celebrated Girls in ICT Day last week, and 18,721 of our students attended that conference. And I want you all again to put in the chat very quickly any congratulatory word for CAPS that celebrates that achievement, or very, very optimistic Raj Ramdas thought we would get. Thank you, Lawrence, you're quick on the draw, excellent. Or very optimistic Raj Ramdas, amazing, congrats. And it would roll. Every participant of the 78 of us, I want you to recognize the awesomeness of the oneness of the Caribbean that has resulted in 18,721 students attending Girls in ICT and boys who supported them. I wanted a more responsive evening because I thought this was absolutely phenomenal. My word. And I want you to use some of your native words. So some of the words and the little parlance that you would have in your territories, put it up on the chat and we'll collate it. My word is jaw dropping. So in Tobago, we would say, man, as a jaw dropping something. Colleagues, I want you to recognize the power of the Caribbean region, the collaborative power that this signals, and please draw strength from this singular event and let us make this particular collaboration that we have reinforced in Thoughtful Thursday become habitual. We understand how we can shape the educational landscape and the future of the Caribbean society. We have a purpose, we have a vision, and we need to transition beyond what is normally expected of us so that all of the issues of the pandemic that beset our educational system and try to railroad our objectives, we could at the end of this be beyond what people would expect to be normal. So all those congratulatory words, we embrace them. I am going to look at them when I'm done. And I say they're not just for CAPS, but they're also for Raj Ramdas and RSC, who has the vision to push all of us and lay that kind of a foundation for CAPS Trinbago 2021. Raj, thank you. Thank you, RSC. Let us leverage all that we have so that we have an unparalleled, unmatched CAPS conference, never seen in the history of conferences. We are going to have colleagues who set a standard, and I hope that they'll meet the target that we set now of 500 registered principals. And if we want to prove Raj Ramdas wrong again, let us double that. So he wanted 10,000 students, we got 18,000. So Raj, when you say we would have succeeded if we have 500 registered past principals and vice principals, primary, secondary, I'm saying, colleagues, let us ensure that CAPS Trinbago 2021 sees 1,000 of us across the region registering for the conference. Over the next week, we're going to send out a bulletin. Coming up in there would be a pre-registration link. And I'm saying, let us get the energy involved that we have in Thoughtful Thursday, transferring onto the preparation for CAPS Trinbago 2021. Our sessions would include an opening ceremony that we hope we can stream live to every territory. So you in your various locales can get together in your little hotel if they would allow you to with this pandemic. And you would see the stream coming out of Trinidad and Tobago, engaging sessions with qualified, eloquent, competent, powerful speakers. I'm looking for one more adjective, Sonia, give me one. Eloquent speakers, or ministers of education across the region, or presidents. We have the university presidents and chancellors coming on board. If you have someone that you feel the fraternity can benefit from hearing, send it to your president of your local association. If you have a sponsor or collaborator that you feel has a product or service and we will benefit from, or the Caribbean region, or they will benefit from the market that we have access to, send it to the president of your association. We're going to put in the chat, and the tech team at the back will put in the chat, or email for the CAPS Secretariat. Send us the information if you think there's a powerful speaker that you feel would benefit from the market and the student access that we have. Or sessions would feature discussions on digital tools, digital intelligence, collaborative leadership, financial acumen in the principalship, student and university readiness, parental roles, student support strategies, school-based management, looking beyond the high stakes test. We have over 60 sessions already mapped out, and we're not done as yet. We are aiming to get over 100 sessions, 500 principals, 4,000 students walking through on student day. We are preparing for CAPS Trinbago 2021. We expect CXC coming in, health and wellness strands, featuring our schools across the region, or culture across the region, best practices in the principalship across the region, culture across the region, and of course, you must have tours and experiences of Trinbago, not so? Cuisine and culture. I don't know how we're getting the food to you, but we have a plan. Many of you keep coming on every week because you value the opportunity to grow and to build your own capacity for influence in the space wherever you are. So we're asking you to market CAPS. Be the marketing agent. The power that we saw last week, 18,000 students, let us harness it. We're not competing, but we're creating a level of regionalism that is unprecedented. I'm not going to talk about the cricket and the IPL. I have Bajans on here. I'm going to say very clear of that. But all the regionalism that is associated with the possibilities of a forum such as CAPS Trinbago, let us do this. Countdown is on, 88 days. Get on the Trini train or the Bago boat. So there's a boat that connects Trinidad and Tobago. Get on it. Make sure that you are at CAPS Trinbago 2021 and sell the story. Be the marketing agent. You come on every night for Thoughtful Thursday and you know what the capacity is like. We are looking even to up that at our conference. This is us. This is you, and we're going to break through. As president of CAPS, however, I cannot end without an expression of prayer and concern for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Last week, our president out of Dominica spoke about empathy that the global reality should elicit from us. This week, I want to say that even more so, we need to keep St. Vincent and the Grenadines and our Caribbean brothers and sisters in mind as the floods have compounded the disaster of the volcano. I feel that Curtis Graves is on now, and therefore I'm going to give Curtis just a few minutes to share with us out of St. Vincent and Grenadines, the president of the St. Vincent and Grenadines Association, Curtis Graves, share with us. I cannot end without commiserating and saying to you, my brother, we are here for and with you. So tell us what is going on in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, please. Thanks. Curtis, somehow I'm not hearing you. Your mic is muted or your audio something.
Okay, is that better, Shara? Good evening,
Yes,
everyone. Thank you very much, Madam President. At present, we have over 7,000 people in shelters, government shelters across St. Vincent and the Grenadines, well, mainly on mainland St. Vincent, with another 7,000 plus in local homes. We have spent the last week, an organization that I'm also involved in, helping to distribute mattresses, water to people in various homes and shelters to assist them in easing their pain. It's been a very challenging time where some of our teachers are actually sleeping on the floor as we try to come to grips with the volcano, effects of the volcano. A number of persons have lost their homes, and to compound matters even more today, the rains that came today have affected a number of households in St. Vincent. It has been reported that at least 2 or 3 persons have lost their homes completely, with a number of others having damage, and we also having damage to roads and infrastructure. The bridge that we took the pictures on in Roberta Dry River just before we enter the red zone there was partially destroyed today, some of the rails. And we continue to try to come to grips and assist everyone. It has been a very challenging and difficult time. I want to thank all those who have been assisting us, supporting us, praying for us. We covet your prayers and we covet your support during this time. It has been very difficult, and we have still 6 principals who are displaced. We are presently trying as a nation to organize education hubs so that our grade 6 students and our Form 5 students could return to some face-to-face class using public buildings, churches, auditoriums, wherever we could find space to engage our students. As you're aware, most of our schools are being used as shelters, and our teachers are involved in shelter management. And this is going to be challenging, but we have to try in the interest of our students to bring some stability and normalcy to their life so that we can assist them in continuing their education. So I don't know if you have any questions, Madam President, or anybody, but we are here. We have regained some form of normalcy with water, but running water from the top, but we are trying to keep afloat.
All right, Curtis, are you still manning the center that you have at your school? Your school is still a center?
My school is still a shelter, and Some of my senior teachers and deputies assisting with that, while I focus and assisting with some national issues and supporting principals, etc.
Okay, what would you say is your most urgent need at this time?
I will continue to say it's foodstuff and toiletries, because even this evening I went to the supermarket to purchase some basic items and there were none on the shelf.
Well, I
Things
just
like
want to
rice.
ask, there was things to purchase. I don't know. You're going to a supermarket. Are there items?
Well, there are some items. I was able to get some stuff, but there's shortage of others.
Okay. Have you experienced looting or any kind of a negative?
Well, we have not experienced looting to a large scale, but I'm hearing from some of my colleagues, and I can't confirm it, that there have been an increase in crime across the country because people are displaced. I'll be able to give you better figures next week, God's willing, in terms of if that is so.
Stay safe. Stay safe.
Thank you very much.
And your little boy, our prayers and thoughts are with you. Thanks for checking in every week, and we continue to support you with our prayers. We are working in Trinidad and Tobago to ensure that some of the support directed at our principal leaves here on Thursday of next week. So be strong and be prayerful.
Thank you very much, everybody, for your support, and have a blessed night.
Thanks, Curtis. On that note, colleagues, very somber and real, the difficulty that our colleagues are going through in St. Vincent and the Grenadines warrants an understanding of what regionalism is, what support is, even as we head into CAPS conference. So thank you very much, my Bajan moderators and hosts, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Madam President. And Curtis, we are happy to see you, and we look forward to hearing more from you. We guarantee you that we are definitely praying for you, and certainly the entire Caribbean. You continue to be in our prayers. And Madam President, we will do all that we can to ensure that you have your 500 registered principals. We here in Barbados commit to that, and we will do our best to ensure that we reach that number. At this time, we go into the moment of movement, and returning from 2 weeks ago, we again present John Yearwood of Wolfpack Yoga. John is an educator, currently assigned to the Lodge School, where he's a teacher of industrial arts, specializing in building technology. And of course, I've heard about his work and how awesome it is. So lots of us have enjoyed it in the past, the moment of movement, and I encourage you all to participate in this stress relieving activity as we join John now for Wolfpack Yoga.
Welcome to Wolfpack Yoga. I am John, also known as Yoga Wolf, and today's sequence will be a standing one. So if you can for me, just stand up and let's begin. We are going to start by planting those feet firmly into the ground and being our tallest self, proudest, strongest self. Yes. Let's roll the shoulders back one time, nice and easy. And we're going to inhale the hands out to the sides, lift up into the air, spread the fingers wide apart, and come all the way down to your heart center. As you release the hands down by your sides, start to think about your breathing. Allow the breath to be nice and big. Inhale deep through the nose. Exhale deep through the mouth. Not worrying about before, not worrying about after. Allow yourself to be present in this moment. Just checking in with the ankles now for a moment. Let's go up onto the toes and down. Up onto the toes and down. We're going to tilt the head over to the right side. For an additional stretch, what we do is place the right hand onto the side of the head and relax that left shoulder down. Still standing tall. Slowly release. Bring everything back to center. Let's try the opposite side. Tilting the left ear over to the left shoulder. And relaxing that right shoulder down. Get that nice stretch in the neck. You know that's where we hold the tension. Very good. And slowly release. Perfect. From here, we're going to inhale the hands up into the air, interlace the fingers, and push up, reaching up into the sky. If you can, for a moment, look up for me. Can you pull your wrist back anymore? Can you reach up anymore? Look as you look straight ahead now. Tilt over to your right side. keep that left heel planted on the floor. Now holding it for 2 long, the inhale brings us back to center. The exhale takes us to the left. That's it. Push through the elbows, push through the wrists. Good job. Let's come back up. It's a swan dive. So what we want to do here is bend your knees and swan dive down to the floor, release down. As you sweep the ground with your fingertips, inhale the hands back up to the sides, all the way up into the air. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see this next movement. It's another swan dive in the beginning. Bend your knees and swan dive down to the floor. This time you hold on to the elbows and try to relax your chest onto your thighs. Relax your head down so the gaze is between the knees, the crown of the head faces the floor. Release the shoulders as much as you can. You're gonna feel the stretch in your hamstrings, so slowly straighten your knees out. Maybe it's a tight stretch for you. You wanna bend the knees again. And whatever you do, take your time, but find yourself into as straight a knee as you possibly can. For those of you who are okay here, lean your hips forward, try not to fall, squeeze those big toes into the floor. Good job. And let's release the hands down, chin to chest, and gently roll up into standing. Perfect. For every stretch, you have a counter stretch. You place your hands into the lower back, support the lumbar spine. Give the hips a gentle push forward. We're lifting up in your chest. Make sure you are breathing here. Don't hold your breath. If you're not breathing, you're not doing yoga. Lift your chest a little bit more. Push it forward a little bit more. Very nice. And slowly up into standing. Here we go. Shoulders back one time. Shoulders forward one time. Inhale the hands out to the sides, reach up into the air. Down to heart center. We're going to extend hands out to the sides. Just twist as much as you can to the right. Looking towards that right thumb. Back to center. Twist as much as you can to the left. Back to center. Inhale the hands up into the air, down to heart center. Thank you for following me. Namaste.
Thank you very much, John, for that wonderful session of exercise. I think all of us here need that at this moment, Sanja. We really do need it a great deal.
We do.
The stress.
We
The
do.
stress, girl. Okay, at this time, I'm going to allow Sanja to introduce our very special speaker for the evening. Over to you, Sanja.
Thank you, Joe. So in the last year, so much has happened, which has forced us, it seemed, to constantly be going through change after change and crisis after crisis. We've been forced to change and to adapt, but how do we cope in times like these? With us this evening is Chernell Clark. Chernell Clark has been a teacher for the past 20 years, initially teaching English, religious education, and social studies, as well as some health and family life education. She holds a master's in leadership, a diploma in education in English, as well as a certificate in guidance and counseling. And she's currently assigned as the guidance counselor at the Darrell Jordan Secondary School. Mrs. Clark is also committed to aiding the youth in realizing their potential. She is the founder of Yes, She Can, GEMS, which is a girl empowerment movement, which was started in December 2020 to help teenage girls to live in the hope of becoming successful and beautiful women. Mrs. Clark, a Coleridge and Parry alumna, has delivered a number of motivational speeches and presentations to school groups, church groups, and youth across the island. Her passion is to impact positively on those with whom she comes into contact, especially the youth, helping them to realize their true potential in all areas of life. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Mrs. Chernell Clark as she presents on crisis, change, and coping. Chernell? You're muted.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can.
All right, good. Okay, so tonight, as the topic suggests, we're looking at coping, crisis, change, and coping. And I want to start us off. Let me just bring up my presentation for you. All right, there we go. So we're looking at mental wellness. That's the main focus for tonight. So you're looking at this chart here, an emotion chart. What zone are you in? If you read all of these descriptions or these adjectives under each color, which one would you say that you're in? Where do you place yourself? Now, if you're in the blue or the red, something might be a bit wrong. So you need to really sit back, do some reflection and reassess. So you tell yourself, you admit to yourself, which color do you fall into? For me, I think that at this present moment, I'm in the green because I'm a bit relaxed, a bit calm, and I'm ready to focus, even though it's late in the night, but I'm that type of person. I work very late into the night, so it doesn't bother me. So a lot of us, we want to be at that green stage where we feel calm and not as if we can't wait for the day to be over, but we want to feel relaxed and we want to feel calm for most of our times. Because when we feel like we're on a treadmill, that's when it goes haywire. All right. Crisis. The year was 2020 and everything was going fine. Term 2 was winding down and the prospects of exam term were in line. Then suddenly the education system as we knew it was thrown into a massive state of panic. That dreadful guest had finally landed on our shores and threatened to derail all our hard work and so much more. Education and school officials were caught napping. A whole new course would need mapping. Parents had questions and schools couldn't answer. Students wondered what would become of their future, and the regional exams drew closer. Decision, decision, decision. Time for swift action, but what could be done? Online school? Well, that is a first. Parents supervising their own children? This must be a curse. I don't know what about you, but I must get on top of this. For the sake of peace, I am winning in this crisis. That is a poem I sat and penned last night. And I trust. We know crisis. And as it says here, crisis is an unstable situation, a time where a time or state of affairs in which a decisive change is impending, and is especially one with distinct possibility of highly undesirable outcome. This, we know, takes place all too often for some persons, and we don't expect crises to happen. However, we are expected to manage in crises. There are many types of crises, and Lerbinger in 1997 categorized 8 of those. You have natural disaster, you have technological crisis, confrontation, malevolence, organizational misdeeds, workplace violence, rumors, terrorist attacks, and man-made disasters. And these things happen from time to time, and we have to be able to manage them. Now, I'll give you a scenario where there was a shooting outside of a school. I mean, very right outside, on mere yards away. Students and teachers would have heard, would have seen things happening and being terrified of what to do, what they don't know. What would be the best decision to make in such a scenario, such a crisis? What would be the best decision? Do you shut the school down and allow everybody to go home? Should teachers continue teaching so as not to cause panic or have the children not too panicked? What about the teachers themselves? How are they to handle what played out around them and, you know, still remain calm? Should we call in counselors immediately so that everybody can have that access to opening up and talking? That is time that has to, decisions have to be made in the quick order, in short order. So crisis management calls for some kind of change to take place. Change can sometimes be very upsetting. It can be very uncomfortable or even scary, because if you're accustomed doing something the same way all the time, when it comes to changing and doing things a little differently, we don't always want to change. But there's one thing in life that remains constant, and you guessed it, that is change. And we either adapt or we sink. So we're just looking at this story here. The acronym change, choose having a new growth experience. Choose having a new growth experience. In other words, you have to decide within yourself if you are going to grow from this experience, or if you're just going to sit there and wallow in whatever it is that's bothering you, whatever it is that's changing around you, or if you're going to grow from it. What are you going to learn from it? We're going to watch this short clip here about the eagle, and you let me know if you can hear, because sometimes so just like the eagle, we have to be willing to step outside of our comfort zone in order to adapt to the changes that are necessary right now, this moment. Can you imagine the pain of breaking your own nose and pulling out your own fingernails just because there had to be a new process, a change? Needless to say, changes can be uncomfortable, but they are not impossible. I'll say that again. Changes can be uncomfortable, but they are not impossible. Like the eagle, we too can make the changes for our own growth and our own survival. So the change might be sudden and it might be hard, but at the end of the day, if you stay stuck, you never realize your true potential, or you never realize how far, or you never realize your own strength. If you stay stuck in the past or in the negative, oh, what has happened? How am I going to get past this? but that's where it comes. How are we going to get past this? All right, so coping with or managing change, you ask yourself the first question: what's the worst that can happen if change has to occur? You imagine all of the possible outcomes. You write them down, and that will help you to see how realistic each one is. If you begin to visualize what change you want to see or how these outcomes can play out, then it helps because you actually put a vision to what you may come up with. It's the unknown or the things that we do not know that makes us afraid. So you have to ask yourself that first question: what's the worst that can happen? Success in past experiences, looking back of how you were able to overcome something else before. It can also help to motivate you to say, I'm a trooper, I'm a fighter. I can handle this. The next thing you ask yourself: how much can I control? Notice the operative word in the green circle and that in the yellow circle. The operative word in the green circle is I or my. The things that I can control: my words, my actions, my ideas, my play, my effort, my mistakes, my behavior. On the outside are the things that are outside of our control. We cannot control anybody else's actions, their thoughts, their feelings. We can't control anybody else but ourselves. It's not like you can cut them open and say, well, I'm going to make you do this. That's a toy. And people are not toys. So you have to understand then the things that you can control. And I often hear of late, this is one thing that I've been saying to myself. This is part of the serenity prayer. And this is the part that we all will know. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So you have to know the difference between those things that you have control over and the things that you do not have any control over. And as leaders, sometimes we tend to want people to behave the way we envision them to behave, or the way that we ourselves would behave. But the best we can do is to communicate our ideas clearly and pray and hope that others follow through. And the serenity prayer will help you along that path in terms of asking God for that wisdom to understand and to know what are those things that you have direct control over and what are those things you do not have control over. The next thing you do, you can accept and view change as an opportunity to learn and grow. If you look at this diagram here, what kind of mindset would you say that you have? Do you have a growth mindset or do you have a fixed mindset? A growth mindset says, I can, I am willing, I want to, I am for it. I'm going to try. That's the growth mindset. But a fixed mindset is going to say, well, I am not trying anything new. I am working this because it worked for me in the past, and that is how it will be. I am going to fail. This is not going to happen. It's not going to turn out well. If I succeed, then I feel threatened by other persons around me, and my abilities, well, what I can do is totally up to what will happen. In other words, my abilities determine everything. That's a fixed mindset. You're not willing to move. And that is a sure way of not being able to cope with change. Because with change, again, I will say you have to learn to adapt and just view it as an opportunity to grow, to learn. If you make mistakes and you stay down, if you fall and you stay down, you can't go anywhere. But if you make that effort, that move to get up and go again, then you're able to progress on to the next level. And that's what having a growth mindset is about. I fell, I failed, but I am going to try again. A lot of the inventors, We would not be sitting here today on this platform had it not for persons trying. They fail at one attempt. They try and they try and they tried until they got to where we are today with electricity, with the computer, with the whole Zoom platform, with WhatsApp messaging. If those persons did not try again after the first failure, we would not be here sitting. We would be in total darkness, and we would not even be able to help our fellow man over there in St. Vincent by sending the goods that they need overseas, by doing different things for them. There will be nothing for us to do. So responding to what your circumstances present to you, if you have that growth mindset, it will determine if you will sink or swim. You have to celebrate the positives. You have to celebrate the positives. This quote here says, don't wait until you've reached your goal to be proud of yourself. Be proud of every step towards reaching your goal. Celebrate a little. Celebrate a little. If you don't celebrate, then you probably find yourself becoming too overwhelmed and bogged down by saying, well, I ain't get there yet, so I better not do the dance of joy before it's all completed. That's not faith. Faith works in that you believe that it is going to come to pass. So you celebrate the little victories along the path. We encourage our children daily to do the same. We tell them that you set goals for yourself, and then you have to set the short term or the mini goals in order to reach the bigger goal or the later goal. So if they don't celebrate their successes now, celebrate passing to going to the next level of form. You know, if they don't celebrate those passes, then they become daunted by what is ahead of them. I ain't get there yet, so I can't celebrate. Accepting the change may be difficult or tough, but when you focus on the positives, it will help you to manage the change better. If you only see the negative things in life, when the good things do happen for you, you will not even recognize them. So you have to try to make the best of every situation. Get creative and inspire people. People like to see then, even though you are going through it all, that you are still able to smile. And I don't mean a false smile, but I mean a smile to say, I have life, I have breath, and I'm going to try. All right. And take action. Nothing beats a trial but a failure, but you have to take action. Taking an active approach gives you some measure of control over the situation. Try some problem solving techniques. There are some people who just criticize, but they never have anything to offer, no solutions. And you don't want to be that person. You want to be the one who is going to offer an alternative. Set some goals and get ahead of your situation. And finally, you get help. A lot of people do not like to get the help. It's normal to feel overwhelmed when you have to make a change or change happens suddenly. And some people see asking for help as a sign of weakness, but it isn't a sign of weakness. When you are able, nobody has all of the answers. And I learned that at the top is a lonely place to be. When you're a principal, when you're a leader, sometimes it can be a lonely place, but it need not be, because by delegating or by allowing somebody else to share the leadership or to share the ideas, you are taking a load off your shoulders. That you have persons who will support you, who will give you ideas and things that will make the load a lot easier. So when crisis situations occur, you don't have to figure it out on your own. You don't have to figure it out by yourself, but open up and be willing to allow trusted persons in your space to be able to help you, to support you. You don't need to be up there at the top and lonely. And I'm going to leave this picture with you. Resilience. Never, ever give up. That's what resilience means, never giving up. No matter how tough or how impossible the situation may seem, this frog is sure to be swallowed by the egret. This is an egret, right? He's sure to be swallowed, but the frog says, not today. I'm gonna choke this egret until he spits me out. He cannot get me down his throat. And that is a mentality about resilience. I may be down right now. I may be going through it all, the water and the fire right now, but there's a better day coming. I am gonna get on top of this. I am not giving up. No matter how bad it gets, I am not giving up.
Okay,
And that
thank you.
there is my presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Clark. That was an excellent presentation, Sandra, I think. And, you know, I think a wonderful way for us to end Ms. Clark's presentation. Ms. Clark, we really don't have too much time, but a question has come up in the chat, which I just want to share with you. And that one is, what are your recommendations for school leaders who seem to have a fixed mindset?
The fixed mindset, as I said before, it can really cause some problems from top right down to the bottom. So it is best to change that mentality. It does not help you, the individual, and it certainly will not help the organization if you do not allow for room for growth, for even allowing other persons into this space to be able to contribute or share in decision-making processes. As I said, you can't do it all alone. So each of us, we're not an island, so we need to open up and allow persons to contribute. Ultimately, the decision is yours as the leader, but it is nothing wrong with opening up and allowing for growth to take place in the organization.
Yes, that is. Sandra, I don't know if you have any questions there on the chat. We don't have too much time, but any other questions that we can just field one or two more to Ms. Clark before we go?
Well, we had a comment from Lawrence. Most of the top schools have deep-rooted traditions that are fixed in the way that they do things. How do you advise a new administration to cope in such a situation during a change in educational climate? So if you're looking at a new administrator.
A new somebody coming in for the first time?
Yes, yes.
Oh, well, the best thing when you get into a position of leadership for the first time is to assess all of the things that are standing, that are existing before you go and you try to change en masse. Because there are certain things that do work, but there are other things that will need tweaking, will need changing. Education, the world over, is changing, and we have to be able to prepare our youngsters for this changing environment. It is no longer how we do things back 10 years, 5 years ago, but the world is constantly changing, and the key thing is to equip our young people with that ability to adapt, but also for what anticipate what they may experience beyond the four walls. When they leave those walls of the school, they're not competing just with the students in that school, they're competing with a whole world, not just even Barbados, but they compete, or your specific islands. They're competing with the entire world. So we have to give them every opportunity. We have to give them every avenue, or afford them with every avenue that they would be best able to handle themselves when they progress on to whatever career path that they would choose.
Okay, I think that is a very, very good answer, Mrs. Clark, for sure. And I was saying really that as we go forward in education, what we need to be doing is to making sure that our children are prepared for the world. Yes. You know, that is something extremely important, and I agree with you very much. I mean, we could stay here this evening and have a lot of talk on these presentations, yes, but our time constraints, unfortunately. So we want to thank you very much again, Mrs. Clark, for your presentation this evening.
You're welcome.
We thank you for generating a lot of all this discussion and questions as well. And I just want to mention that there are there's going to be an evaluation segment. And so we're asking you please to check the evaluation in the chat so that you can make your contribution insofar as this presentation was concerned. But in my view, Sandra, we had a very, very interesting time, interesting presentations all around. And I just want to say thanks to everyone who made a contribution. And certainly to you, Sandra, you will have the last word on this one.
Well, thank you, Joe. I really want to wish all of our principals, our educators on the call, you know, a time of change while we think about it. We want to wish you an experience in the green zone of happiness and calm, focused, ready to learn as you change. Choose having a new growth experience. That's what change means. I'm going to take that one away, Charnel. Be like the eagle, colleagues, remembering always what you can control. Let us see change as an opportunity to learn and grow as we apply that growth mindset. Celebrate the positives, take action, get help if you need, but continue to be resilient. Never, ever giving up. At this time, we want to thank you for joining us. It was certainly our pleasure here in Barbados to have hosted the last 4 sessions. I want to thank Joe for being a good co-host, especially when I couldn't hear. And we really want to thank RSC and all those who contributed to tonight's session. So be with us next week as we continue to share among ourselves as principals and educators. Do have a good night and God bless everyone.
Good night to all.